Well, the Silksong announcement is almost here. You may have gotten tricked. There's a fake Team Cherry YouTube channel out there, and the Hollow Knight Silksong special announcement it's not a rickroll, I promise you that. This will go live in 83 minutes. Now, if you're watching this later, just skip ahead that many minutes. I'm not going to do two different broadcasts. I usually do that, but this waiting room is only going to end up being about an hour and a half, and if I would have gone over to the new thing 30 minutes prior, the waiting room would have only been about an hour. We've also covered Future Games Show, Opening Night Live, and other Gamescom 2025 events like Xbox's Gamescom booth. We will be doing another stream today, probably after this, to just sort of look at everything that's been going on, look at the trailers, look at the announcements, and just sort of like react to stuff and discuss stuff, because there's just a lot happening, and I didn't want to just do this and then nothing else. So if you're watching this later, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. This is a daily talk show. We do lots of uploads as well. I am safe for work. A lot of people treat the talk show kind of like a radio show while they're at work. If I'm helping you get through your work day, thank you so much for listening. A lot of people lately have said, hey, you're helping me through my work day. I want to support the channel directly. Well, a great way to do that is to click join and then pick Member Plus. $6 a month is all it costs to support this channel directly and get into extra content in the Discord. So consider doing that. Even if you can't make it to the live shows, you could connect with us in the Discord. We're always in there during the non-streaming hours. We even do a weekly town hall. That's available to you, as well as all the sponsor links below. And we're already starting off the day with some hits. Sorcerer Han shot first and Joker Quinn Han shot first, both on Twitch and YouTube. Gifted member and a Prime resub from Sorcerer. So thank you guys so much. We'll get the battle underway. Team YouTube and Team Twitch battled it out yesterday, and we are now at 279. Little behind pace. We wanted to end yesterday at 300. Maybe we'll tempt somebody to do some big member bombs today, like 20 bombs on that. Make sure you're hitting the like button as well if you're watching this later. If you're watching this right now, that like button does help the video. We'll change the thumbnail and we'll change the title once the announcement has happened, and then I'll add a timestamp as well to my reaction, so that way if you're watching this later, you can sort of quickly get to that. I'm going to drop the member count down here in between the member battles, so it's not just kind of hanging out up there. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Lego Batman is the third game being shown on the Xbox show. It ends with High on Life. Yeah, we'll probably loop back and re-watch some of the highlights from the Xbox show. They're doing their Day 2 booth. We're probably not going to sit through the interviews unless it's something I'm super interested in. I am interested in the Batman game. The Lego Batman game has sort of taken the world by storm. Outside of Silksong, I think for many people, it's like the biggest announcement this week. Twilight with 24 months. Welcome back. 2 entire years of support. Now that's a nice setup, because whoever gets us to 300, your platform gets a gifted member. So a 20 bomb right now could steal it and secure it. We'll see if either side decides. I don't know if we've got a 20 bomb this week. It's been mostly 5s and 10s, which is incredible. You guys have been crushing it. None of the big guys have been doing that lately, and you could do that right now and take over. Batman Arkham Video says, here are some details about Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight releasing in 2026. Story-led campaign from Bruce's origins training with the League of Shadows. It blends 86 years of Batman film, TV, comics, games into one original narrative. Open-world Gotham City with crimes, puzzles, rewards, and Easter eggs traversed by grapple, glide, and vehicles. You've got Batmobiles like Muscle Car and the Tumbler, Bat Cycles, the ability to summon the Batmobile anywhere. Previews show open world collectibles. Confirmed locations include Ace Chemicals, Gotham. Okay, they're getting a little bit too into it here. New combat system with Arkham-style fluid chains, counters, takedowns, and gadgets. Yeah, I think it looks so good. It's literally like if you took all the Arkham games, smashed them together into the Lego world. It just looks so great. Not since Arkham Knight have I been like this jazzed for a Batman game, because I thought Arkham Knight was really good. I thought people were like a little unnecessarily critical of it. I thought it did an excellent job. So guys, we've only been live for about 5 minutes. Make sure as you pile in and get ready for the Hollow Knight Silksong announcement, make sure you are smashing that like button. We appreciate you guys so much. And if you are watching some of these broadcasts later and they're muted, sorry, I have no control over that. A lot of these companies are still using copyrighted music, so that has been a bit of a bummer every year that nobody has learned that just really hurts coverage. You know, no one can watch past broadcasts later without having to deal with a bunch of mutes. You know what I mean? So, Lego Batman 2 was a perfect Lego game. I got a little burnt on the formula of the older Lego games. You know, they weren't really my jam. The game of Gamescom so far for me was Valor Mortis. I've seen trailers for that before. When have they shown that? Have they shown it again somewhere else? I'm familiar with it, but I'm not really sure if I have seen it this week. When are we going to get a Lego Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? Probably never. Probably never, Jack. Lono saw the clip, but what are your thoughts on Rogue Prince of Persia? It feels really, really good. I was trying to figure out that boss fight because I was trying to jump over him and his attacks, and I forgot you can run on the wall. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. So I do like that intersection of, you know, traversal being put into a boss fight, like right off leap. That reminds me of Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown, where you got like the grapple, and then there was a boss fight that specifically was built around that. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not good at the momentum thing that they want you to do, where like you do your jumps perfectly timed and you do your dodges perfectly timed and you like fill this meter. That's something I'm not really like able to vibe with. I'm treating it more like a Metroidvania where I'm like focused on the combat and spacing as opposed to like timing my parkour for momentum. I've never been big on momentum games where you have to like do things at the exact right time and kind of keep going. I don't know. It's like a Dash Think Dead Cells. No, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the movement overall. I'm talking about like you can run and jump off of walls and poles and stuff, and if you hit jump as soon as you land on it, it creates this like momentum, like these up yellow arrows appear, and you like fill this meter. And you can get like different abilities and move faster and things to basically proc once that meter is full. That is not at all vibing with my brain. Like I'm not getting into a flow state with that. I had a perfectly fine time with the game and I enjoyed it. But that aspect of the game, good morning Discord, that aspect of the game is not at all landing on me. I'm enjoying it. I thought the boss fight was great. I thought the environments were great. The upgrades and the weapons are cool. I feel like they're very generous, so you're not like, there's nothing fun about playing a rogue and like you get to a storefront or you get to a thing and it's like, you know, you don't have enough money to buy anything. Like they're pretty generous, especially if you take the time to explore and you take the time to like go into different, you know, areas and things like that. To me, I think that's how a rogue should be. You know, you definitely feel that when you play like Returnal. You feel very, very rewarded for exploring and going into all the different areas because you end up stronger. And I really like that about the Rogue Prince of Persia. So I enjoyed it. It took me 3 or 4 tries to beat that first boss because you got to get all the way back to him. But by and large, I felt like, you know, I was getting better items. I was getting stronger. You know, so by the time I went back to him and kind of figured out the using of the wall run to get above his attacks, I was kind of ready to go. Guys, make sure as you pile in here for the morning and for the day for Gamescom coverage for the Silksong, you know, announcement, Hollow Knight Silksong special announcement's going to be happening in 74 minutes. Make sure you're smashing the like button. That'll help us meet a lot of new people today. Let's try to get to 100 likes super fast. Oh, and let me do the whole thing where I pause that pesky thing that none of us like. It was growing on me last night. It's very fast. It reminds me so much of Dead Cells. If you're getting nasty messages on Twitter DMs, I would just close them, Lady Gamer. It's just nothing but bots anyway. That's all I ever get in my DMs anymore. I don't feel like anybody uses Twitter to, you know, network anymore. It's kind of the bots have just completely ruined the platform. Any chances the older games come to PlayStation in this announcement? The older games come to PlayStation. Are you talking about Hollow Knight? What do you mean? You can get Hollow Knight on PlayStation. Or what are you referring to? It was an opening night live pre-show. I don't remember it before then. Oh. I've seen that game before. I don't remember it during the pre-show, Lone Wolf. I must have either tuned it out or maybe we've had too many trailers. Sometimes I get like trailer overload and I have a hard time remembering everything that I've seen. And I'm like, oh yeah, we saw that on the first day. That certainly happens. Pragmata looks cool. Another Dead Space game in terms of innovation. It very much doesn't look like Dead Space to me, though. It looks like it's a little bit more action-oriented, like the player moves faster. It doesn't look like it's going to be like this dark foreboding sort of like horror survival genre either. And I also liked how they sort of intersected her hacking and your attacking. I didn't mean to make that rhyme. They sort of are intersecting those two things, and I really like that. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. We could take a look at that later as well. We're going to do a second stream today, just basically doing, Gamescom 2025 live coverage and just trying to kind of pull everything up, rewatch anything we may have missed, and then, be able to kind of give my thoughts on it as we're watching. They were just showing Ninja Gaiden 4 at Gamescom. Yeah, I've seen, I think it's the same trailer every time. I've seen that same trailer twice now at Gamescom, so they're probably just running that again. Yeah. Her hacking seems to slow the pace of the game down, but it looks very intriguing. Yeah, again, I like a new idea like that. It's not like this big, huge, expansive open-world adventure where I'm worried about that. It seems a little bit more tactical, like, okay, here comes the robot. Okay, you get like the slow motion, like, and you're like, okay, left, right, up, down, left, right, down, boom. Okay, it's open up, boom, and then you shoot them. I like that. I think that looks like it's going to be at least some measure of fresh. If you guys are tuning in for the Hollow Knight Silksong special announcement, you can watch it right here. So plant your tuchus and hit that like button. Get us to 100 likes. We only need 30 more. You guys are crushing it already. Also, check your renewals. If you got a Prime renewal on Twitch, if you've got a renewal on YouTube, you hit the $ to celebrate those renewals. These are also great days to gift members and welcome people into the community. I'm not happy with the direction Pragmata looks to be going, one enemy at a time. I'm not seeing 10 plus enemies in a room, etc. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're just maybe trying to show off that specific type of combat, and maybe they're reserving that for like mini boss or boss fights. So maybe there will be more generic fighting, like ads, like just like generic robots that you'll be able to shoot and not hack. Maybe that's the purpose of kind of the showcase. If that typically is what it is, again, I try to accept a game on its own terms. And if that's kind of the game they wanted to build, I'm interested because we've kind of played a lot of these games at this point. So if someone has a fresh take, I'm immediately interested. I'm like, okay, fresh take. What's this going to flow like? What's this going to feel like? Now, that doesn't mean it's good, and that doesn't mean that I even like it. But, I enjoy when someone is going to take a crack at a genre and try to go in a very, in a very different direction and innovate. We got that with Returnal, and then Saros is hopefully going to take things even further, with it being sort of the spiritual sequel. Just hope it's not another Souls-like. Well, Pragmata wouldn't work as a Souls-like if you've even seen the gameplay. Like, it's a third-person, shooter. So, you mean take a hack? I'll take a hack at it. I'm kind of tired of the companion games, so I'm not sure about Pragmata. I may cop it if y'all hype it up after release. What are some examples of companion games that you're thinking of? Pragmata doesn't really... I mean, it reminds me, funny enough, it reminds me a little bit of Donkey Kong with her riding on the back like that. Have you ever thought about dubbing over video game trailers as a comedy side channel? I feel like you'd kill it. I've thought about it from time to time because there have been times where we've done that. Like, we're rewatching a trailer and I just mute it and I start to be silly or goofy and do my own sound effects. The difficulty with comedic content is... you have to be, that kind of has to be your skill set. You've got to be a gifted writer. You've got to be one of those people that can just kind of do it. And then you got to put a good amount of time into it. the guys that do the short form comedy, especially guys like Mighty Keefe, Andrew Rousseau, and others, they're very gifted, and like that's what they do. So the difficulty with my ability to be funny is it's usually on the fly and in the moment. If I try to plan it, if I try to like sit down and like, okay, I'm gonna do this, it doesn't work as well. We ran into that with a character that I would do called Hillbilly Jack. He was far better in the live environment, just sort of riffing and playing and making things up as he went along. If you tried to plan content with him, it just kind of squashed the whole feel. It didn't work. And again, that would have maybe gotten better with time, with practice, but that's just not my primary skill set. You know, my primary skill set is being an orator, a speaker, a teacher, an instructor, like a debater. Like I'm kind of more in that realm. And that's adjacent to doing and having wit and being funny and being quick on your feet. That's not quite the same as like sitting down and trying to write. An example would be if you've ever watched Mystery Science Theater 3000. Well, the reason MST3K was so funny is they shipped it as if they just sat and riffed on the movie, but they would actually watch the movie numerous times, scoping out timestamps and scripts to make it feel that way. Now, that was an entire team of people, and obviously Joel Hodgson, I think, was a gifted comedian. He's still around, but like he's gifted, he's good at that, and I think that served the comedic level of MST3K. So I've always thought it would be fun to make content like that. There's even been little skits I've wanted to do where people like play both people and, you know, they hold the phone, kind of like what Mighty Keefe does. I just, the time and the energy is probably better spent on some of the more longer form projects that we're working on. Like I want to do a retrospective on Tsushima. I'd like to do a retrospective on Returnal before Sorrows comes out. You know, I've got a video I want to make about why I feel like PlayStation games feel different. So, yeah. If you guys are tuning in, we're waiting. We got about 66 minutes before the Hollow Knight Silksong announcement. Do me a favor. A lot of you are already, you know, coming in and just kind of planting yourself and just kind of waiting for the announcement, as well as more Gamescom 2025 coverage. Do me a favor, though. I know we talk about this every once in a while. You got to double check that like button. Sometimes it doesn't save your like. Make sure, get us those first 100 likes. It does help us quite a bit. HBJ was awesome. I never saw him actually live, though. He was born in the live environment. He was doing a lot in Fortnite, and then probably his best content is when he played through Red Dead Redemption 2, but it just became too much of a distraction because at the time I was a full-time Destiny content creator, and the energy levels that I needed to be doing a character later in the day, it got very taxing and very difficult because I was streaming, you know, 5 or 6 hours of Destiny and then trying to put on a show as another person. So that is actually not easy to do. I would actually switch in the middle of the stream. Like it was a lot. It was pretty demanding. That was the issue with HBJ when we recently tried to do it again, is, you know, the afternoon I'm very low energy. I've spent 6 hours or so hanging out and talking, and now all of a sudden I'm supposed to like do a character. So what I'm looking forward to at the showcase, there's two main things I want to see. I would like to see some uncut gameplay, if that's possible. I feel like it should be possible at this point. You know, let me sort of see something that's not montaged up, that's not high on the demand, but I would like that. I would like to see not a bunch of montage, but like, let's just kind of see a boss fight. Let's just kind of see you navigating the world. Maybe show how big the game has become, like the map or something. And then I also think I would really like a release date. I think at this point, if you don't have those two things, then what exactly are you doing, would be my kind of criticism. Like, you've got everybody's attention. We've all been dying to hear from you. When you finally get our attention, it's time to bring a good amount of gameplay and a release date. If you can't bring those things, then it's really, I would really question why you're talking to us at this point. Yo, Wiggleman Games with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Thanks for my entertainment throughout the workday. Guys, if I get you through your workday, man, that's a huge aspect of what we do here. I had a guy last night, and he's an older gentleman at my church, kind of taking interest in what I do. I told him, I said, the bulk of my audience are you know, men in their, you know, 30s and up working every day. And if I help you get through your workday, consider supporting directly. It's how I do this full time. the join button and that $6 membership is quite literally one of the most important things we're trying to grow. In my opinion, they cannot show the map unless it's lacked all the details. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm not saying show the map. What I meant was show me size and scope, like how much bigger is this than Hollow Knight? Because they don't have to do the map. I'm just saying I'd like to see it. One of the reasons I would like to see it is that's one of the reasons we've been waiting for such a long time. I mean, Team Cherry, when they finally spoke to this like 2 years ago, they said, hey, you know, the game's gotten quite large. I should have got the membership. No, you're fine, Wiggleman Games. Whether you do the super chat or the membership, it supports me. That's the point, is that without folks doing that, I'm not able to do this. So your super chat is honestly higher than the membership. So like if you come in every month and just do a super chat, that's the same. I mean, that's the same thing to me. That's you deciding to support me directly, and I greatly appreciate it. It's just that you get more out of the membership. You get into a Discord server where the community hangs out. You get into extra content, you know, Friday nights with my wife, those types of things. So, you know, that's the reason why we focus on the memberships, because that, you know, that's the community aspect of what we do here. If we don't at least get a release date, I'm going to snap and I won't be happy. They can't keep pulling the silent treatment, but honestly, I think they are going to get the shadow drop today. If they shadow drop this game today, I'll be absolutely blown away. That'll be insane to me. That'll be absolutely insane. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Why did it take so long for a sequel? Okay, so apparently they did, not apparently, they did an interview with Jason Schreier from Bloomberg, and they're going to address that in that article. Like, why were they quiet for so long? I think the general answer is going to be, we were damned if we do and damned if we don't. If we came out and spoke, it would set expectations that we were getting closer, or that we were going to do a release date, or that we were going to do a showcase or something. If we say nothing, people also get really angry, and in the absence of saying anything, people tend to overhype a game and they tend to get a little very antsy, right? There's a lot of angst in the community when a game just goes dark. Understandably, because a lot of times when games go dark, it's because things aren't going well, okay? I think you're going to get some kind of an answer like that. Like, we decided that erring on the side of silence was better than coming out and saying something and then upsetting people automatically, because like they didn't want to set expectations passively. Like, they clearly did not have a firm timeline, and that's okay. I think gamers continually forget that game development is extremely complex. It can get very expensive. You know, timelines can get incredibly long. This is one of the things that comes up in the multi-plat development conversation, and how I say, listen, it's not as simple as just being like, yes, build your game for all platforms. It's expensive. It's complicated. And even a game like Silksong is proof that, like, a lot of the times the developers do not have hard timelines and rigid timelines of like when the game's going to be available. And more than likely, they probably just said it's better for us to be quiet than to say something. Because if you don't know, like, let's say they finally showed up in 2024 to an event. Guess what everybody's going to think? Oh, the game's coming out any day now. Oh, it's coming out in 6 months. Oh, it's probably coming out early next year. And they're probably thinking, we have no idea. We don't know if we can meet any of those deadlines or any of those expectations. You know, so they opted to say nothing. I bet you we get some kind of an answer to that degree. Corey came out and addressed that fake account too, and said himself, we may see a bit of the new IP Santa Monica's working on later this year. Okay, so he did. Corey came out and confirmed that was not him. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty obvious it was a fake account. One of the dilemmas with people vacating Twitter and running to other platforms is that if you don't have an established presence on those other platforms, it's very easy for people to impersonate you. It is a lot harder to impersonate somebody when you're sort of established on a platform like Twitter. You know, people are not going to be. This is one of the reasons why Twitter has become such a frustrating platform. because it's just overrun with bots. And it used to be a great place for information. It was a great place for networking. And now it's just become a bot haven, you know, and then everybody doing creepy stuff with Grok. Like, I don't know. That platform is just not even worth using that much anymore. It's a shame. How long did Mafia the Old Country take to make? I don't know. A Lego Atreus game? Yeah, maybe we finally get... You know what? An Atreus game would make more sense in Lego because of how limited his scope of combat is. Yeah. So, AI will take over soon for devs, saves time and money. No, I don't think so. I think the doomers on AI are completely exaggerating what's going to happen. I think AI will continue to need to be leveraged by people intentionally. You will need artists and writers and developers. You will need people to leverage it. So, limited, he can turn into a bear. Yeah, you know, they'd have to do something with that then, Hotshot. I was thinking about the way that we played as him in the game for most of his play sessions. You know what's been out of the frame for me that you're probably right. They could make a really amazing game with him turning into different animals. Because doesn't he turn in, when he's hanging out with Angrboda, doesn't he turn into a wolf? He can kind of do whatever he wants. It's funny, too, because the question comes up in God of War 2018. He asks, can I turn into animals? And Kratos is like, can you turn into animals? Like, Kratos, you know, he answers his question, but Kratos seemingly is like, huh? That's your question? Finding out you're a god? I'm buying that Lego Voyagers co-op game. Looks really fun. Yeah, that comes out next month, I believe. I think a lot of folks are going to fall into the AI trap and overuse it, make their product look like slop. We'll go through, okay, so I think this is what's going to happen with a lot of that. It's going to be the same thing that's happening with like battle royales and live service. There's going to be a gold rush, and people are going to think that this is the solution. And you're going to get a bunch of games that are clearly slapped together, thrown together. That's the next trend chase. If there's anything I've learned about gaming, it's that when somebody does that, when they rush a game to market to try to grab a hold of a trend, it doesn't go well for them. So I think AI will fold back on itself, and it will become financially destructive for companies that go too far with it, and then you'll see it sort of settle and be a tool that is leveraged. Maybe it's helpful in, you know, using it for voiceovers for smaller budget teams that just don't want to get into like hiring voice talent, which I know is a bummer for voice talent, but like a small team with a small budget has to figure out their path, right? I'll see it being, I think I see it being leveraged in that way. Meta just announced AI hiring freezes. Yeah, I already think it's having depreciating returns. They're not seeing the immediate returns they were hoping to see from it. It was this gold rush of like, oh yeah, this is going to be the next big thing. But it ends up actually not doing that. You know, it's so expensive. Yeah, it's expensive. People are tepid. It's not as advanced as maybe people were thinking. It was probably really easy to convince executives and C-suite and shareholders that like, oh, this is going to be a cash cow. Here's a great cheap moneymaker. And it's actually not doing that. So I think you'll see gaming companies do the same thing. They'll pump the brakes. They'll back off. Rain Ruin, thank you so much for a month of support over here on YouTube. It's really encouraging to see a Member Plus 1 month renewal. That is really encouraging. That is like one of the single most important things that we're trying to push. We want to get 600 people at Member Plus and above, and we have about 515. So we need about 90 to 80 folks to consider upgrading or supporting the channel directly on YouTube. We'll do a big celebration, but that's the big focus right now, and you can help us with that for $6 a month. The whole thing was, if you're not first, you're last, but they have no finish line. Well, and I don't even think they have concepts of what they were going to use it for. I think it was just like the classic gigantic company with lots of money and executives that want to see, you know, pioneering the new. I think that's what it was. It was like, we'll just throw money at it. We can do a bunch with it, and we'll make a ton of money. Can you please read my last statement? Can you please read my last statement? Do you know why we don't see a scam video or headlines about a 900 1080p handheld? I don't think you're going to get the coverage of that you got of like the PS5 Pro, if that's what you're asking. If there's one thing people have shown is the people who are the quickest to accuse others of bias and being a shill or, you know, being a corporate whatever, the people that are the quickest to throw those terms around are usually the ones that are the most guilty of it. Like, so yeah, and we don't even know the price. Now we had like Bill comes out and puts the price, and other leakers have claimed to know the price, but Microsoft themselves have said due to macroeconomic situations that they're not saying the price yet, which is interesting because, like, as Eugene's pointing out, it's 2 months away and we don't have a price. So, you know, Nintendo Switch 2 got grief for that. They announced the device and it was like not that far away and we didn't have a price. Similarly, we're going through the same thing with Microsoft. Now, some of that is not their fault. A bunch of these tariffs are causing all sorts of issues with companies being like, we have no idea what we need to charge, because if you're operating within countries that are getting hit with the tariffs, there's going to be significant fallout. Like Sony was anticipating, you know, the millions it was going to cost them, and Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is coming to console, coming to Game Pass September 17th. Is it coming to all consoles? Deep Rock Galactic Survivor console release date. Did they just announce that? No official date yet. That's so new that is such a new announcement. I can't find anything about it anywhere. It was just on the Xbox show. Yeah, Xbox did the same thing with the Prince of Persia game. It was only going to be on Game Pass, and it was also on PS Plus. That's the one that I wanted. Not only do I want Deep Rock Galactic Survivor on console, I would really love it to have co-op. I understand why it probably will never have co-op, but let me see if I can nail down an announcement here on maybe on Twitter. Let's see. No. Do they have a specific Twitter handle maybe that they use? Is Deep Rock Galactic Survivor its own... is it its own Twitter account, or is it all under Deep Rock? I'm not seeing it. If it's coming to PlayStation, I'll check it out. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is coming to Game Pass September 17th. It would be really weird for it to not come to PlayStation, but maybe they procured a deal and they got funding to be on Game Pass, and they're going to give that platform some preference. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor in the PlayStation Store. I'm not seeing it yet. If it's out of early access, it should be on PlayStation. Yeah, I just think the announcement is too soon. I think the announcement's too soon, maybe. I like that game so much. It was such a fun game. That I've been hoping it would come to console for a long time, because it's such a chill grind. Good morning, Snake Eyes. How are you? Guys, if you're just tuning in, we are waiting for the Hollow Knight Silksong special announcement from Team Cherry's YouTube channel. Make sure, hit the like button, hit subscribe. I do a talk show like this Monday through Friday. Usually I'm in this scene just talking with the audience. I'm also a safe for work broadcaster. So a lot of people throw me on in the background of their day and just listen to the show. And you can do that in confidence while you're sitting at work and doing various things. You can just put the show on and listen to us discuss and debate and dialogue and react to gaming news. So thank you so much for being here for probably one of the bigger announcements this week. Hollow Knight Silksong release date, hopefully maybe today. We also have been hoping that we get some gameplay as well. I mean, they showed a little bit of gameplay. The fact that they didn't give Jeff Keighley almost any gameplay tells me that they're probably going to give us some good look at gameplay today. So They're talking about Fate's End, which looks good at this moment. Eugene says anti-consumer. I don't know who it helps keeping Deep Rock Galactic Survivor off PlayStation. Obviously, he's memeing. Safe for work, but you said took us. Yeah, I did. I said took us. Hopefully that didn't get anybody in trouble at the office. You could watch the YouTube channel and rewind it back to the end of the game. Well, I mean, I'm seeing the end card in Discord, and since it was during the Xbox showcase, they did the same thing with Rogue. They did the same thing with Rogue, Prince of Persia. They said that it just had the Xbox stuff at the end because it was for the Xbox booth. So in May of 2025, yeah, they said there was going to be, after the 1.0 release, it looks like they had some things that were coming that we've not seen before. 1.0 should be the full release. Well, 1.0 is the full release on PC, Paul. Yeah, that has already happened. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor has hit 1.0 on Steam. Yes, it's only been available on Steam, though. Yes, Lady Gamer, they announced the handheld without a price. Have you discussed the PlayStation price increases? I covered it yesterday. It's $50 on each device. It's a huge bummer. They tried to hold the tide against it. I think they were hoping the tariffs would go away. They shored up a bunch of stock in the U.S. to avoid the price increase. They actually discussed this on an earnings call. Hiroki Totoki said they were even looking at moving production to America to try to help, which is insane for a Japanese country to consider moving production to America. Like, we're one of the worst places to probably bring production to if you're producing in certain countries where, like, cost of living and labor costs is so much lower. So that was insane to me that he would even say that to the shareholders. Like, that would they were basically looking at everything they could to avoid it. Well, sadly, the tariffs have not gone away. And so, yeah, they had to increase the price by $50 per device. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. We're excited to announce that Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is going to be available to play on Xbox and Game Pass launch on September 20th, on the 17th. Yeah, where is that announcement, though? If they did the same thing with the Rogue Prince of Persia game. Like, it seemed like, oh, it's going to Game Pass and Xbox. There was no sign of it going anywhere else. I'm just let's see here. Yeah, that's a weird choice, but again, since it's going on Game Pass, I could see them wanting the money. Oh, that's from the developer on Steam? Okay, so it looks like it's not going to be on PlayStation. That's a bummer. I mean, they got to get that money, you know? If that helped them fund the port to bring it to console, because Xbox said, hey, we want it on Game Pass, and, maybe we want a window of exclusivity. If that helps the game and helps fund it, I'm happy to wait, because it is such a good game. It's just a bummer because I've been kind of waiting on that one for a while. Like, I loved it. I put a lot of time into it on PC, and you guys know me. I don't like coming in here to play games unless I'm playing with, like a stream with you guys, obviously. In my free time, my spare time, I don't like coming in here to play games. So, guys, we've got 45 minutes until the Hollow Knight Silksong special announcement. Do me a favor and hit the like button if you haven't already. That will help us. Let's get to that milestone of 200 likes. If it's a PC game, porting to Xbox would be faster. This is correct from everything I've been told. If a game is on PC, porting to Xbox is easier. Yes. Passing the tariffs onto the consumer was the only natural outcome. How anybody thought otherwise is baffling. Elden Ring has performance issues on the Switch too. Where is that 4K performance we were promised? Yeah, there were some pretty absurd things claimed by Nintendo fans, when the Switch 2 was being shown and early discussions were brewing. I think a lot of those guys are going to look a little foolish in the coming days. I didn't get into that fight. I didn't get into that conversation. I could tell people were really overstating the case of, like, how strong it would be, how well it would play. And I said at the time, nobody should be buying a Switch 2 for third-party games. You buy it for Mario and Kirby and Zelda and and Donkey Kong, Yo, Cat Uncle with 23 months and a member plus. I can finally take off my clown makeup for Silksong. Also 23 months, dude. Almost 2 entire years. We have yet to see a 20 bomb of gifted members this week. We are a 20 bomb away from hitting that milestone of 300. We're a little behind. We wanted to come in today at 300 so somebody can steal that moniker for their platform. Whoever hits the milestone gets it, whether it's Twitch or YouTube. Just an hour ago said that Black Myth is running at 60 FPS on the Series S. I mean, no. It's not running at 60 FPS on the PS5 Pro, the PlayStation 5, the Series X, or the Series S. It's not real. It's fake. It's frame gen. Like, unless they come out with an official patch and an official word, and I get a breakdown from Digital Foundry that confirms they are no longer using frame gen to double the frames, it's a 30 FPS game in disguise. I've continued to be firm on this. Black Myth Wukong is not running at 60 FPS on any of the consoles. It's a frickin' mirage, and it creates input latency and dropped inputs and all kinds of problems. So sure, you can run your frame tests and your frame timing tests. You're not actually testing it with the controller in your hand and being like, oh yeah, this feels amazing. Unless they overhauled performance. That's what I'm saying. I've not seen any updates, patches, or blogs, or tweets, or articles saying, yeah, they've overhauled performance of Black Myth Wukong. Also, looking at that game and its fidelity and that engine, ain't no way that game's running at 60 FPS on a Series S without some kind of magic. It's a demanding game. It didn't even run that well at launch on PlayStation. Didn't run all that well, depending on your rig, on PC. That game hitting 60 FPS on the Series S is, again, it's likely doing what it did on PlayStation. It's running at 30 FPS, and they're using frame gen to double the frames. It tricks you. Until you start playing in the more intense fights, you won't realize that it's doing things to input latency and dropping inputs. You won't. Digital Foundry called it an abuse of the technology. That's not what frame gen is for. So I don't. People are like running to be like, oh, look how great it's running on the Series S. I'm like, first of all, what's the res? What's the internal res? Like, how does it actually look? How does it feel? How's the input latency? How are the dropped inputs? Those are all the things that matter more than some weird frame timing test. Like, that's great. You could do the same thing on the PlayStation 5 when it launched, and you'd get a false positive being like, oh, look, it's running at 60. And the reality is, it is one of the ugliest performance modes I've ever played. Wu Chang's performance mode is almost as ugly. It's pretty bad. It's got this like blurring, fuzzy effect going on. It's not pretty. It looks. I think it looks terrible. Black Myth looks terrible. On my 5090 at max with 4K native, it runs at 80 FPS. Yeah, I mean, UE5's got issues, and they've gotten better. Companies have gotten better at UE5. Black Myth kind of didn't. Thank God normal people don't listen to Reforge and other YouTubers, as third-party games should be supported on the Switch too if people want to buy them. I don't know what you're talking about. You're saying, thank God people don't listen to me? I didn't say not to support the games. I said it's unlikely somebody's going to buy a Switch 2 for third-party games. I honestly encourage people to don't buy a Switch 2 for third-party games because I said they likely won't run well. Would you prefer I mislead people and lie and say it's going to run great and look great and be awesome? Many people like oversold the capabilities and the power and the strength of the Switch 2. Would you prefer I do that? Is that what you'd prefer? You prefer lies over the truth? Thank God people have the sense to know that advice about hardware based on its actual capabilities is something that people should be doing with their platforms as opposed to the opposite. Like, I'll never understand consumers who are willfully stupid. Like, you don't make any sense to me. It's like somebody who wants to just keep stepping on a rake because you want to keep your dentist in business. Like, what? Like, you don't make any sense to me. Why do you willfully inflict dumb things into your own brain? Like, you want people to just, support third-party games on the Switch too? That doesn't make any sense. Buy games that you want, buy devices that you want, but do it with the full information in your head about, like, how's it going to run? How's it going to perform? Is it going to look good? Is it going to look well? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I said when the Switch 2 was announced and they showed it off and we heard that even Donkey Kong Bonanza was having some performance issues, I said nobody should buy this device to be playing these third-party games like Cyberpunk or like Elden Ring. Yes, you did. Go back in the timeline. What are you claiming I said? You're saying third-party games should be supported on the Switch too if people want to buy them. I have never once said don't buy third-party games. I said I wouldn't buy, I wouldn't recommend, I don't think anybody should buy the Switch 2 to play third-party games. They're not going to run well. If you think that advice is bad, or if you think that advice is wrong, counter it with an argument. You're not countering with an argument. You're seemingly just crying in my chat because you think third-party games should be supported for the sake of what? Like charity? Just buy the games to support the devs even though the ports don't run that well, or the performance of the game is going to be significantly inferior to basically everywhere else you can play it? Half the Cyberpunk lawsuits came from running on last gen. Yeah, I mean, look at what happened to Cyberpunk at launch running on old consoles that it had no business being on. Is it the same person that was griping about controllers yesterday? I don't know. We're seemingly dealing with similar levels of intelligence, Stonespire. I don't understand, your criticism or your position. Me encouraging people to not buy something because they're going to get poor performance or inferior performance, why is that a problem? Why would that be upsetting to you? What do you, like, work for Nintendo? Did you work on one of the ports and I hurt your feelings? Like, that's actually sensible advice. Games like Cyberpunk and Elden Ring have been out for literal years, and you can get them and run them perfectly fine on a PC, a PlayStation, or an Xbox. Buying a Nintendo Switch 2 to play Elden Ring doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially when the price of the Switch 2 is very close to the price of, like, a PlayStation. Like, all of my advice prior to even the price of the PlayStation going up by $50, you could go a week ago, you could have went and purchased a PS5 digital for $450 or the Switch for basically the same amount of money. And if you're buying something to play third-party games, me being like, man, I wouldn't buy a Switch 2 to play third-party games. They're not going to run that well. Look what happened to Mortal Kombat on the Switch 1. It was so bad. Yeah, I don't know where your ideals come from, where, like, I'm somehow in the wrong for encouraging people to not do something where they would get poor performance for their money. When Silksong, when read screen. It's right there on the screen. 35 minutes. See my last few? Eugene says here, I'd refine that statement and say, don't buy a Switch 2 for modern-gen AAA games. Third-party games is too broad of a category. I'd refine it down to something more specific. I think you're getting pushback because third-party games is a really broad category. Tons of third-party games run well on the Switch and the Switch 2. Okay, well, obviously, you have to take my advice within the context of when it's made. I know that's difficult when people don't consider context or nuance. They prefer to run clips, scream and yell, and put people's faces on thumbnails to mock them, because that's the level of intelligence we typically deal with in these environments. But if you take my comments in context, every time I made them, it was about games like Cyberpunk and Elden Ring. If you want to be like, the Silksong is going to run good, clearly, when I'm making those statements, it's clear what I'm speaking about. I mean, I suppose I could flat tire the conversation every single time and be like, don't buy, like, big budget modern next gen AAA games on the Switch 2. You're probably not going to get great performance. I could qualify it every single time, but in general, when the comments were made, it's sensible what I'm saying. It sounds to me like you probably saw a clip on Twitter false framed by a psychotic person who will never, ever, ever make any sense to me as a person, but you probably saw a clip of me saying that. Like, don't get a Switch 2 for third-party games, ripped from the context of a discussion where we were likely talking about either Cyberpunk or Elden Ring. So yes, I'm not saying I'm not out here on some campaign or some crusade with uploads and live streams and Twitter polls and like, hey, don't you dare buy third-party games on the Switch 2. See, live streams are living, breathing things. I know that's difficult to understand when you live terminally on Twitter like some kind of a basement dweller, but like live streams are living, breathing things. And when I make a remark in a 2-hour broadcast within the context of an ongoing conversation, and you want to rip it out and be like, nuh-uh, you told people not to buy third-party games, and that means you meant every single third-party game out there, which includes indie titles and AA titles that run perfectly fine on the Switch. Listen, we don't have time every day to treat this like it's preschool and educate stupid people about how the internet works. But constantly coming in here and saying things or coming at me in my comment section or coming at me on Twitter based on clips that you have seen that falsely summarize my position, you can come in here and ask me my position and you would have made perfectly good sense of like what I meant. Like, why were you saying people shouldn't get a Nintendo Switch 2 for third party? And I'd have been like, well, there's already known issues about games like Elden Ring and Cyberpunk and others being ported to these devices. Now, people were saying Cyberpunk runs better than they expected. But in general, I would say I would not buy the Switch 2 for those games. If you're looking to play games like Cyberpunk, Elden Ring, or more modern like AAA games that they're porting over to it, I would not buy a Switch 2 for that. And you'd be like, oh, that's a really sensible position. You're basically telling people not to buy a device to play games that aren't really designed for it. Those games were primarily designed for the current gen consoles and PC with respect to fidelity and performance. Like, that's how conversations tend to go when adults are talking and not weird children who obsessively want to like put somebody in a category so they could call them a name. Like, I know it's difficult to like think older than a 10-year-old, but if you just come in and say, hey, what are your thoughts on this? Why am I hearing that you're saying this? I'd be like, oh, well, this is what I meant, and this is why I'm saying it. And now when we're getting reports of Elden Ring running poorly on the Switch 2, that's evidence to my position. You should not be buying a Switch 2 to play games like that. You're not going to have a good experience. For almost the exact same amount of money, you can buy a console that'll run those games better. PS5 runs those games just fine, and you can get it for cheaper than the Switch 2. Are AAA games on Switch giving you locked 30 FPS, as in no dips whatsoever, actually asking? I actually don't know, Zoob. I've not watched any of the breakdowns. I mean, you can't even play... I mean, on the Switch 1 or the Switch 2... Because the Switch 1 certainly didn't even maintain 30 FPS in its own games. Like, Tears of the Kingdom didn't even maintain 30 FPS. Yo, it's good feed. I see you in the chat. Switch 2, I mean, again, it's going to be, and this is exactly why I gave the advice that I gave. It's a total crapshoot. Like, it's an absolute crapshoot. Like, people were saying they were surprised how well Cyberpunk ran, and now they're saying Elden Ring's a disaster. Like, it just runs so terribly. So to me, that's where that's the issue that you're going to run into. It's going to be an absolute dice roll. You have no idea how the games are going to run. So if I was giving advice to somebody and they were looking at the Switch 2 and they were super excited because they wanted to play like Elden Ring on the go or Cyberpunk on the go, I'd be like, I don't know if I would do that if I were you. They are likely not going to run that well. 2077 does not run great on the Switch 2 in the DLC area, probably because they put more systems and things running. I mean, there's a lot more going on in Phantom Liberty. The Switch 2, in terms of performance, I think is on par with the PS4. While you can play the newest AAAs on it, it's not the most optimal experience. Yeah, but the issue is, even that's not the greatest way to encapsulate it because it's going to be different game to game. Like, you can have one game run, surprisingly well on the Switch 2, and then you're going to have an Elden Ring. That's why I said what I said. You've got to understand what's happening with the Switch 2. A bunch of companies are seeing dollar signs because of how well the Switch 1 did. So they're giving huge priority to to porting their games to the Switch 2 so they can capitalize on that thing's saturation within the market. So you have to know why I gave that advice. It was like, I would absolutely pump the brakes. I would not be buying a Switch 2 for these third-party ports that we're seeing, because that, in their mind, it's a gold rush. They want to be the first ones there. So not only are you dealing with a device that's not really designed to play the games, you're dealing with companies that are rushing. They want to be there first. That's a recipe for what Elden Ring looks like on the Switch 2. They wanted to be there first. They wanted to be there when the thing dropped, or in, it's sort of the early year, momentum and velocity that the device has selling in the market. Like, giving somebody advice about that and be like, yeah, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I wouldn't buy the system or those games. I think that's very sensible. I do, because I'm basically telling somebody to avoid potential or real disappointment, as opposed to being like, oh no, yeah, buy it, it's going to be great. There were a lot of fans of Nintendo and tweets and videos out there that were really overselling the device, and that to me is always something I'm going to advise caution on. It dampened my excitement for Dustbloods. That's another thing that I think is really interesting. It's like they secured some FromSoft exclusive. I can't imagine that stays exclusive to the Switch 2. If Elden Ring runs poorly, what do you think Dustbloods is going to run like? Another looter shooter for Xbox, this time for 6-year-olds? Oh, are you watching the Xbox broadcast? What are they showing? What's the game called? Lono, would your advice be the same towards the Steam Deck? Yeah, if you're going to buy a Steam Deck and you want to play like big budget AAA current gen games on it, you're probably going to find the performance to be lacking. If you're going to get a Steam Deck and play games like, Deep Rock Galactic and platformers and, Vampire Survivors and stuff like that, that's a great device. That's a great device for that. If you're going to play more of the indie AA level games where they're not going to be crazy demanding, they're not going to be trying to push any of the open worlds or big huge games, that's what the device is there for. If you're like, yeah, let me buy a Steam Deck and I'm going to be playing, I'm going to play Cyberpunk and turn all the settings up, no, you're not. You're going to have a bad experience if that's what you're hoping to do. Steam Deck is running those games locked 30 and sometimes 40. It's a totally different performance profile. Yeah, that's another thing to say. Like, if you're okay with 30 FPS, the Steam Deck does, I think, satisfy a gamer in that lane is going to feel satisfied, but most of us aren't wanting 30 anymore. I think that's a growing sentiment. That, like, if I'm going to be playing a game in a three-dimensional space and rotating a camera, I want 60 FPS. Now, if you're like, no, I'm fine, 30's not bad, I don't mind 30. I feel like on a small screen, it's really magnified. Somebody might experientially disagree with me and be like, actually, on a small screen, it's totally fine. It's not that noticeable. That's subjective to the person, but you just need to know, and most people do, if you're buying a Steam Deck, you're not buying it for its high performance. You're buying it for the convenience of taking it and playing and gaming on the go. And in general, gaming on the go, the mentality of somebody gaming on the go is probably going to be a little bit more disposable gaming sessions, like short gaming sessions. Like, you're not sitting down to throw down 3 hours into Skyrim or something. You're probably going to play something like Brotato, Vampire Survivors, Hollow Knight, games like that, where they're so fun and so entertaining, but they're also easier to engage with in shorter spurts. Guys, we've got 24 minutes before the Hollow Knight Silksong announcement happens. Try to get us to 200 likes. We only need about 50 more likes. A lot of you guys are piling in here. You can watch this with us. We'll react to it. We'll discuss it afterwards. Then we're going to do a Gamescom stream where I kind of go back and rewatch some of the stuff that we missed while we were sitting here. With respect to like Xbox is doing stuff. There's trailers we may have missed. We will check that out. Yeah, I want to see if there's any like new Batman footage. There's a lot of new Batman footage out there of the Lego Batman game, and so we will do that in a second stream today. I played Ori on the Switch years ago, and now I can't go back to replay it. It doesn't look right. Yeah, I mean, if you play Ori and the Will of the Wisps or Ori and the Blind Forest on a modern system, and then you play it on Switch 1, you're going to be kind of shocked. Even that game. And that's a very beautiful game. I mean, that was one of the first... Wasn't that one of the first games to do... I feel like that was one of the first games to do 4K 60. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I'm weird, but I only will play handheld when I travel. Other times when I leave the house, I'm out doing things. There's no need. Yeah, I would only take my handheld somewhere, like if I was going to somewhere where I knew I was going to wait for hours, you know, in a waiting room or something. And I just knew I was going to wait for a really long time. Or like, you know, if I was going in for surgery and I knew I was going to be at the hospital for a couple of days and I would be in a position to like just sit in a bed and play and I'm not like doing rehab or something. You know what I mean? There have been times where you're in those situations where, you know, you go in for, like when I had my appendix out and they had to do it in the more extreme way and I was there for like 10 days. I would have my wife, if that happened now, I would have her bring the Switch 2 and a nice long charging cable. And I'd be grinding Zelda. Game of the Year demo just came out, Garfield Kart 2. Look out now. Or colonoscopy. Those aren't very long, are they? I don't think you can be like sitting there playing games, can you? I play handheld at home when I want to lay in bed and I don't want to play on the big screen. Yeah, I don't do a lot of gaming in the bed. I don't. I think there was a night where I was testing out the Portal and I tried it. But generally, once I'm upstairs and in bed, I'm like reading a book and my eyes are closing and I'm going to bed. It is rumored that the company Virtuous is porting Elden Ring for the Nintendo Switch 2, not from software. But as you know, Valve did help a lot to make Elden Ring run better on the deck. Well, right, and so this is the thing, and this is where, again, I think you misunderstood my position on this. Advising people to not buy the Switch 2 for third-party, like big third-party titles like that. And Cardock Ren comes in with a 10-bomb. Been a little quiet on the Western Front today, but he gets us close to being on pace, trying to catch us up to yesterday. Thank you so much. It is now 12-3. YouTube, where's your answer here? We're 8 away from the milestone. A 10-bomb to steal it. Twitch is in prime position. That was all my advice was. Like, I feel like a lot of the times folks come in here with an axe to grind because you think I said something that I didn't say. I've lost count how many times people will reply to a tweet, leave a comment in my comment section, or come to my live chat and they talk to me about things I never said. And it's like, man, y'all have got to stop getting your info from a poisonous well. Like, you got to come to the source and just ask me what I think. Joker Quinn with a gifted member. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Gifts a member and bumps the line to 293. Twitch is in prime position. That's right. You are unconscious during colonoscopy. Ask the colon cancer survivor who knows. Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't think you'd be sitting there playing a Switch during there. What is this? Gamers Nexus had a video taken down. What are they saying? Surely no one could have ever foreseen that the copyright strike and DMCA system would be abused to take down our video. No one could have ever expected this. Thousands of viewers could never have downloaded the video in the event such a thing happened. We received a copyright strike overnight against our video, which has rendered it unviewable. We're working on legal pathways to reinstate it. More to share soon, but seriously, surely no one could have seen this coming. I'm not sure what happened. What kind of video did they upload? What was it about? Really good sleep. I wish I could package anesthesia and take it every night. It would probably be really bad for you. Steve has a super deep dive about GPUs and smuggling in China. It's 3 hours long. AI GPU smuggling in China. He told the community to record it in case it was taken down. Oh, good golly. I'm thinking about putting some money away after Christmas to save up for a PlayStation 5, but I don't know how long it will take me. Yeah, and hopefully this is the only price bump that they do, you know? There's always the possibility that they have to do another one. This situation with the tariffs and stuff likely not going to be resolved soon, quickly. Yeah, unfortunately. Oh, and you're in the UK. Yeah, so it's a bit more pricey for y'all. That's unfortunate. Record what? Sorry, I had to mute for a second. Gamers Nexus put out a 3-hour video about something with GPUs in China or something. And apparently they anticipated getting taken down, and they encouraged people to record it so that they'd be able to probably have people redistributing it, you know. There's probably people that are going to be like uploading it to other platforms and mirrors and stuff like that. Yo, it's good, ganks. Started vacation today. Got to sleep past 9 a.m. for the first time in 3 years. Man. Yeah, soccer season completely evaporates me getting to ever sleep in. Like, my daughter has a bunch of not a bunch. Now, she has 3 or 4 8:30 games. I'm like, are you kidding me? Gee, many Christmas. It would have been great if we had a bunch of her 8:30 games earlier in the season when it gets so hot, but they're later in the season when it starts to get cold. And I'm like, great. Nothing like standing on a dewy, wet field in the cold of the morning, of the brisk October morning. being like, all right, girls, let's open up the field. This is the last time, this is the last week before hockey season starts back, so 4 a.m. mornings for work and 6 a.m. weekends for hockey. There you go. There you go. Well, there's a hype train that now started on Purple. We need 7 members to hit 300. We're super close to it. Don't you do that. No, don't you do that, Fuzzy. Get that out of here. Don't even give that video clicks, you jerk. Sci-Fi Nerd with 34 months. Prime Renew. There it is. Prime Renews count. 294. Thank you very, very much. 13-4. Twitch is in the lead. That was Team Cherry, not me. And Wired Rope with the 10 bomb. There it is. YouTube just getting left in the dust now. It seems the fight's more fair lately, doesn't it? It's interesting. Yeah, all of a sudden. Thank you so much. Hang on. Did we get another Prime Renew? Oh, no, that was Sci-Fi Nerd. Okay. And I owe you guys one over here. I'm going to do it now and help with the hype train here. I'm going to help out with the hype train. I owe you guys one. You guys hit the milestone of 300. It's now 23-4. And there you go. Is Mash okay? Haven't seen him in a bit. Mash for a while would take trips and be gone. There have definitely been times where he's been gone for a week or two at a time. That has happened. It could also be that, you know, he feels bad or something, which I told him he should not feel bad. You know, he was super chatting the one day in Canadian and like supporting the channel. I'm like, you shouldn't feel bad. Nobody knew this was going on. We figured it out. We have rectified it. He can continue to support the channel if that's what he wants to do. I'm not at all mad at him or upset with him. You know what I mean? Even if he comes in and goes crazy, it doesn't matter to me. It's like, I'm not going to be upset by that. You're still choosing to support the channel. It doesn't, the local currency thing is absolutely not a concern. So, you know. It's his prerogative, it's his choice, you know. I don't want him to stop because he feels bad. That would be a terrible reason. Why should you feel bad? He's gifted so many subs. It takes more than that to get you mad. I was frustrated, not at him. Like, it doesn't feel good to find out you've been wasting your own money and losing money. Like, I was losing money. Like, that's not a fun thing. You know, people have obviously tried to twist the situation into calling me an e-beggar, and it's like, yes, I spent thousands of my own dollars the last 9 months hurting myself unknowingly because of I like to be generous to the community. What an amazing e-beggar I am. Honestly felt bad, not gonna lie. I mean, I felt bad. It was a bummer, but we quickly rectified it. It has been resolved. There's no reason to hold back. What was happening was he and many others were gifting members in their local currency and basically giving me a significant reduction of US dollars. I did not know that. So there were days where I was like matching 50 bombs and 20 bombs to celebrate. And in doing that, it was making me lose money. It was counterproductive. So we course corrected. We fixed the problem. I still gift. I still want to pay it forward. I still like what we have here. We have a very generous and giving community. It's a culture that we have formed. I don't think there's a reason to go back from that, you know? If you're using your local currency to support me, you are choosing to support me. I don't care where you live. I don't care what money you use. That is a gesture and a sign of support that will always be thanked and welcomed here. So YouTube should give you that money anyway. Well, then they would be losing money. They're not interested in that. YouTube makes most of their money from ads, boys. Like, let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. They're not interested in making memberships better or more lucrative for us. They're interested in lots of, they want clicks, they want watch time, they want views. That's where they make their money. We, unfortunately, are an awkward transplant from Twitch. I don't have control over these things. I got unfairly and unjustly banned, and even though I got the channel back, we spent 4 years building something on YouTube that we can't walk away from. It's not something that YouTube prioritizes, so we have to prioritize it ourselves. We have to carve out our own path here. We have to own what we have and make it great, and not rely on, other avenues at YouTube. We've got to rely on ourselves, and I think we've done that. Nathan, thank you so much for gifting a member. I appreciate you so much. That gets us to 305. That actually is a 20 bomb setup. It'd be the first 20 bomb of the week, I believe, to get us to 325. That is the next milestone. Thank you so much. It would obviously put YouTube back in contention and ahead of Team Twitch. And the hype train. It always says success, and I feel like it's rolled over. Okay, there we go. Hype train is concluded at level 5. News, Directive 8020 delayed until 2026. That's not news. That was announced weeks ago. Try to get us to 200 likes. That's another thing that really helps. If you guys are like, man, I can't do gifteds, I can't do membership, I can't do tips or whatever, the like button is hugely helpful. Lego Batman out in 2026. Yeah, we knew that from the announcement. That when they announced the game, they said that. That's not news either. The delay of Directive 8026 is being couched as news on Twitter. It's not news. That's old. We knew about that. Erase song, mute all sound. I'm slowly but surely muting all the copyright sections of the future game show from yesterday. Someone gifted me a sub yesterday at some point, so I'm tagging it back just in case to displace the issue. Yeah, paying it forward is a great way to support. Upgrading to Member Plus is a great way of support. Just being here and lurking every day is a great way of support. Whatever you guys, do, whether you listen every day, hit like, you chat, you just say good morning. Maybe you never say a word. You're just here faithfully every day. Those are all ways to support the channel. Everybody supports in their own way. Can you explain something? Content creators here in Portugal complain about the ads not paying anything decent, and ads from other countries are worth a lot more. Is this true? If so, how much? Well, what's probably happening there, Mr. Drexen, is advertising spend for their region is not very high, so YouTube can't give them a very good cut. Because if, like, let's say you're streaming in Portugal and you have people living in Portugal watching your content, it's going to be showing them relevant region-based advertising. And when that happens, those ads are paid for by probably companies there. And if the pay is low on those ads in particular, through negotiations or just through currency value of the region, the streamers themselves, the content creators themselves, are going to be getting less money, if that makes sense. So ad pay is dependent upon a lot. It's dependent upon, it's dependent upon the region, it's dependent upon the company, it's dependent upon the negotiations with YouTube. So more than likely, ad spend in that region is just weak. And because it's weak, you're probably dealing with them, not getting a whole lot, would be my guess. If you guys are tuning in for the Hollow Knight Silksong special announcement, it goes live in 7 minutes. It goes live in 7 minutes. So thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure you smash the like button. Your channel subject. I didn't ban them. I just deleted the messages. I wasn't sure what they said. Yeah, the channel subject is Hollow Knight Silksong special announcement. A lot of you guys are tuning in right now, kind of bum rushing. We will be doing more Gamescom 2025 coverage today, so consider hitting subscribe. I am safe for work. It's a daily talk show Monday through Friday. It's basically a podcast about gaming. So if you like the content, that's a great way of supporting it, is hitting subscribe and hitting like. Those are free, and those are free ways to support. And we do offer memberships if you want extra content on top of that. That is available as well. Are you playing Helldivers 2 next Tuesday? Yeah, we'll probably dive in and check everything out that day. We've covered Helldivers 2 off and on over the years, and that's probably a day worth covering it. A demo would be sweet. I'm anticipating good chunk of gameplay, explanation of some systems and how things are going to work. I would imagine they're going to want to differentiate it, from the first Hollow Knight. They'll explain maybe how that's exactly going to work. Like, it's pretty obvious how they're doing it. So, you look at it, different character, it's a lot faster, it seems more acrobatic, than the first game. And then I would hope, and we're all kind of hoping, for a release date. I was over these 2D side-scrollers when I was 10, but I enjoy the show every morning while I'm working. I would encourage you to expand your horizons, If you can try one out on PS Plus or Game Pass just to see if you like it. Like Ori and the Blind Forest, I would start there. They're so, I don't know. Sometimes you just have to play the right game, and it'll change your mind. You may never be sold on it. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to be like, you know what, guys, fighting games finally clicked for me. You know what, guys, racing games finally clicked for me. That's unlikely. That's unlikely. And that may be for you. But the fact that you're like, oh, I was over these when I was 10. I never really enjoyed sports games or driving games or fighting games. I tried Terraria because everyone said it was great, and I returned after an hour. I don't know if Terraria is the one that I would recommend. If I'm trying to get you into a platformer, like a Metroidvania, I would start with Ori and the Blind Forest, and then move to Hollow Knight, and then move to Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I don't think I would start with Terraria. I don't know if that's where I would go. That's seemingly... It's a great game. People really like it. But, yeah. I don't know if that would be the one that I would go to. So, okay. Let's do a little something here. We have 4 minutes until this starts, okay? We need a 20 bomb to get to 325, okay? If before this starts, we get a 20 bomb, the platform that does it, I'm gonna up the ante this one time. We've lowered it to singles, but let's see if we can't get a little momentum here. All right, let's see if we can get a little momentum. I'll do a 5 bomb, but it has to be a 20 bomb before this starts. You have 4 minutes. The gauntlet has been thrown down, and it needs to be a 20 bomb. Whichever platform does it, That's what we're doing here. Stone Spire's been super good about setting these up this week. He didn't set this one up, but he's been very good. And nobody's been taking the bait. We'll see if we can't maybe I can stoke the fires a little bit here. You have 3 minutes. Terraria is one you might consider if you were going to be on a desert island with one game for like a decade. Yeah, I think Terraria is a great game and has a great review, and great review scores, and players seem to love it. But if I was trying to get somebody into platformers, that's not the one that I would start with. I would start with like Ori and the Blind Forest. And Joker Quinn's going to poke the line and try to stoke the fires to get somebody to take the bait. And he does a single. And so the 20 bomb is now an Agent of Chaos. If it happens, if anybody takes the bait. We got a gauntlet, 3 minutes. You tried platinuming Hollow Knight. You quit the game. Wasn't your cup of tea. And a 20 bomb comes in from Rpate86. There you go. Somebody does it. And that is an Agent of Chaos. Thank you so much. And the member battle has now heated up. It's 26-23. YouTube takes the lead. And I haven't done a 5 bomb in a while. I'll do that every once in a while. I'll throw down a little gauntlet for you guys. I'll throw down a little gauntlet there. I was making sure my sound device was working. If you guys just got blessed with a gifted member, and if you guys see people spamming farty bomb, that's something that my son came up with. That's what he calls 50 bombs. They're trying to manifest 50 bombs right now. So you can always spam those emotes as a way to try to manifest that. Get one of the big boys to go crazy. All right, we did it. 60 seconds. 60 seconds to showtime. Now, this is a premiere, and premieres typically are capped at 1080. So we'll re-watch this. So don't go anywhere. Once this is over, stick around. We'll re-watch it. I'll do some reacting. And also, the other thing to consider is we are going to be watching more Gamescom coverage after this. Hollow Knight Silksong trailer reaction. All right, I am going to change title and thumbnail as well. This is no longer a waiting room. Reaction. There we go. We come prepared here. We come prepared. We are no longer a waiting room. Okay. Okay, the premiere should start any second. Guys, while we're waiting for the premiere to start, go crazy on the like button, man. There's 600 people here. Try to get that like count as high as possible before the video starts. Appreciate you guys tuning in, supporting what we do here. Long awaited here. Long awaited. Let's place some bets here. We got people trying to manifest 50 bombs on both platforms. Man, somebody should drop one right as soon as this starts. Like, blow the chat up. Here it goes. Wait, did they just change the start time? Oh, no. Okay, cool. It's going to start shortly. Any second now. It'll also be a countdown. That's what these premieres do. So don't be alarmed when there's a countdown. That's how YouTube works. When you set up a premiere, there's a countdown. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, they're going to do a 3-minute countdown. Okay. Okay. Let me fix my cap card. There we go. Luna has a voice for radio and a face for showbiz. Well, I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you. And Twitch, I'm in the dark. If somebody goes crazy over there with a gifted, let me know. Let me know. I'm in the dark. I can't see Twitch right now. I mean, I can see what you're saying. And I'm going to delay that pesky thing that nobody likes. If you don't like those pesky things, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps this video find more people. Appreciate you guys so much. It is starting in 2 minutes. Pesky things, Eugene. Don't be unkind. How's the coffee, worth the buy? Well, it's mine, so I would think so. Yes, we have 3 flavors. They all feature balanced acidity. Yo, a 5-bomb comes in from D and moves the line. He just set up another 20-bomb. We'll see if anybody takes the bait. Our next milestone is 350, and we are exactly a 20-bomb away from that. It'd be an Agent of Chaos. We would be at 351. Somebody drop the heat before this thing counts down. We got 1 minute and 15. Where do I purchase the coffee? You can type !coffee in the chat. That's a command. We have commands. You can type like !coffee and things like that. You can also go to reforgeroast.com, and that supports me. That's like supporting a local business. That is not a sponsor. That coffee's in my house. My wife and kiddos ship it to you. You get little thank you pictures from my kids. And it looks like Team Purple is trying to manifest a 50-bomb. We'll see if they succeed in their endeavor. They would certainly take the lead back. They would take the lead back from Team YouTube. We'll see if that happens today. Let's see. Let me go to the dashboard here. I want to get the creator dashboard stream manager pulled up so I can see both sides. All right. All right, everybody's spamming farty bomb. Spam farty bomb. Which team's going to do it? All right, let's get the countdown volume. September. Oh, it's so close. Oh, it's so close. Yeah, it's right around the corner, boys. September the 4th. I saw a ton of things I want to come over with you guys. I saw items. I saw abilities. Oh my gosh. It looks so good. Clearly an enormous emphasis on new stuff, new elements. Hang on 1 second. It's giving me some grief here. Let's see if they can't refresh it. I am trying to refresh here. There we go. All right, let's loop it. Okay. All right, we're going to break this down on some of the stuff that I noticed. Obviously, there's the amazing art style is one of the first things to point out. Just the sense of scope that they do in a scene like this, with the background seemingly just going on for almost forever, with the blurring effect you know, with the sense of lighting even kind of coming through the back. This is just phenomenal. This is absolutely phenomenal. The art style here, this is going to be a contender for Game of the Year. Like, I don't think it can beat Expedition 33. This is definitely getting a nomination. They just completely disrupted the Game of the Year conversation and who gets nominated. 100%. So much here. We got some items here we want to look at. So this is a sting shard, a vicious stabbing trap. We can build it. Just know it disturbs us. These devious implements you conceive to kill. So you've got that. I don't know if they scroll through here. They do. The magma bell. This trinket is our own invention. It wards against the deadly lava and heat around these docks. The workers used to request them for us. Now they've lost the mind to care. So it seems like this is going to be, maybe we have biomes that are cold or hot, and you're going to have things to potentially protect you from those elements. Oops, hang on. We're going to need to frame by frame this one back. Crafting kit. Crafting by claw alone produces inferior results. With this kit, let me loop the video. Okay, cool. It'll loop when we're done. Alone with this kit, you can craft finer, sharper, and deadlier tools if that is your wish. And I mean, the map here, we don't get the full sense of scope of the map, right? This is just a section. Like Fair Fields. This honestly feels central, maybe, because of just the up and down here that we have. Probably some type of a drop or elevator. But you're noticing multiple areas here. The Deep Docks, the Hunter's March, Greymoor, the Morrow. We've got Bellheart. I don't know if these are any... I don't know. I'm not huge on the lore of the first game. I loved it and played it a long time ago, so I don't know if these are any repeat places. Shellwood, Bone Bottom, and then, okay, Lethal Acrobatic Action. So the fluidity here is just phenomenal. Like lashing to things, jumping off of things, using your attack to stay above or to catapult off of them. Her little flip animations, just absolutely wonderful. What they've done here. And again, the sense of scope here, I just want to stop and admire the artistry that Team Cherry has poured into this. The sense of depth beyond where you are, I think, is one of the key selling points of the art direction of Hollow Knight Silksong. Because it looks so good. I mean, it looks like I'm truly in this big cathedral-like place that is just dwarfing me as well as the enemies that I'm fighting. I love the sense of scope that they're able to use with the backgrounds, even if it's a little bit more foreboding and creepy and foggy like that. I also noticed a couple of new... That might be a new ability where she's just shooting straight up. This could be a brand new ability like shooting straight across in the first game. They say here there's over 200 ferocious foes, so lots of enemy diversity we would hope for. And then it said 40 legendary bosses, over 40 legendary bosses. This is one of the key selling points. There's that new move that I noticed. She can kind of glide down with her dress. Looks fantastic. Yeah, I love everything about this. The frenetic nature to it, the fluidity, the art style, the use of color. And just the use of music as well. A little bit of comedy here, a little bit of a slap for that person. Looks like we might have some more like 1v1 duel action going on, like just dueling another enemy, a little bit more of a less like a traditional boss fight. So in this release date, I mean, I was actually hoping that there'd be a demo. That's okay, there's not. That is exactly 2 weeks away from today. Listen, I'm just going to say it. I think these guys got expert advice from somebody about marketing. I really do. They went dead quiet. They said nothing. They showed nothing. They got the world to obsess about their game, and now it's coming in 2 weeks when they finally rear their head. They finally show. They bring the goods, right? This is a significant amount of content. This is a significant amount of gameplay. And a release date 2 weeks from now. Could not be happier. A super chat from Jack Garland says, has someone already made the do I have to play as a girl comment? If not, do I have to play as a girl? Yes, you have to play as a girl, so obviously this game's going to get a lot of criticism from that crowd. I hate how difficult the game is. I actually really liked how hard the first game was. It was like in the perfect lane. Guys, a great way to celebrate a day like today is to go crazy on the like button, because we get a lot of people that just pass through, watch the trailer, and leave. Please get us to 300 likes if you haven't already. Help us with that. That's a huge help on days like today. Also consider supporting directly with a membership or using your Prime or just paying for a sub. That helps out what I do every day. If you're watching on YouTube, the $6 membership is the one we're working on right now. We want to get 600 people at that tier, and we're at about 515. I'm going to start asking for character sprite editor now. Yeah, do it. I think Prince of Persia was better. I don't know how you could think that. This isn't out yet. Prince of Persia was fantastic. I actually really, really liked it. It's one of the best Metroidvanias that I have ever played. I put it up there with Ori and the Will of the Wisps and the first Hollow Knight, and I was kind of bummed that it didn't get enough award nomination attention last year. But yeah, I don't think you could compare it to this game, because we haven't played this game yet. Don't sleep on Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown. You're preaching to the literal choir. I was one of the people who was prominently declaring last year that Prince of Persia did not get enough love and enough attention. I said it was one of the best I've played. I was disappointed that it didn't get more nominations at the Game Awards. I thought it scored significantly better than some titles, like it should have been up there. It was sadly overlooked. Did you play the Strider games? I played the one Strider game for a little bit. It didn't really hook me. Yeah, Sundered is another really, really good one as well. If you have not played Sundered, that could get you by for the next 2 weeks while you wait on this game. Hand-drawn, beautiful, big, epic boss fights. Sundered is magnificent. My bad, I thought you were on Team Nine Souls. I'm not on a team. I loved Nine Souls as well. Nine Souls is basically a platformer Sekiro, though. I wouldn't classify it as a Metroidvania. It's a lot more challenging and a lot more fast-paced than any game I've played in that regard. That was probably the hardest platformer I've ever played. Nine Souls is incredible, but good golly, some of those boss fights will absolutely take you to the red zone. They are tough. Yeah, Prince of Persia was from a small team over there at Ubisoft, yes. I'm going to fire up Hollow Knight at lunch today. We'll see if it's hard and Sundered. There's an ED at the end. Sundered. It's from Team Lotus. They are the ones who also did Spiritfarer. They do great work. They do great games. I did not try Blasphemous 2. Blasphemous 1 was at a time where I was trying games like that, and I did not like the non-linearity of them, like never really knowing where to go kind of frustrated me. Salt and Sanctuary was kind of similar. I was like, I don't know where to go, and I don't like that in a platformer. Guys, if you're tuning in for a Hollow Knight Silksong reaction, we've got the thing looping behind me, and we're just kind of talking about it. Make sure, I need everybody right now, double check that YouTube has saved your like. We're trying to get to 300 likes. Help us with that. I tried the Rogue Prince of Persia last night. I posted a video on Twitter of me beating the first boss. It feels great. It's responsive. It's a good rogue. It's rewarding. Art style is really, really good. The only thing I'm not really good at is the free flow parkour where you build momentum. That's the one part of the game I'm not that good at yet. I'm good at doing like the combat and the fighting and moving around, but the momentum based parkour, I am not good at that. It's an aspect of the game that doesn't really jive with my old man brain. So we are going to do more Gamescom coverage as well, so keep it here for more Gamescom coverage. We'll be covering some stuff today from that, and we appreciate everybody being here for the coverage this week. If you're a brand new sub this week, I hope you get a membership. I hope you consider doing a membership and supporting the channel directly. We are a fan-funded channel, so everybody that does memberships, super chats, and gifteds, that is how I do this full-time. They have not released a price yet, to my knowledge. No. PlayStation Store. I'll go to the PlayStation Store. I'll go to Steam. We'll see if we have prices anywhere. I can add it to my wish list on PlayStation. I can add it to my... It already is on my wish list on Steam. No price yet on Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm gonna guess it's 50 or 60. I don't know if it'd be 70. Yeah, I don't know if it'd be 70. I'm gonna guess 50 or 60 is where it's gonna land. And thank you, people continuing to tune in and watch our Hollow Knight Silksong reaction. I pointed out the art style, the sense of scope, the background, The obvious, the art style of this game is just phenomenal. The music, there's new abilities, there's new items, there's over 400 unique enemies, there's over 40 legendary bosses. It was significantly larger than Hollow Knight. They showed like a sample of the map, and it looks very, very big and just wonderful. Everything about this makes me feel good. Everything about this makes me feel good. Like I want to play this game. I'm gonna get lost in this game. It's just, these are the kind of cozy, fun, but also challenging and satisfying games that I kind of live for. I loved Ori 1 and 2. I loved Hollow Knight. I loved Prince of Persia. I loved Sundered. Yes. So this one will probably land in the Game of the Year conversation. I don't think it unseats Death Stranding 2 or Expedition 33. Those are our two front runners. This is certainly in the top 3, though. I mean, it's a definite contender. But I feel like it's really, really difficult to unseat Expedition 33. And this is certainly a game that could make the conversation very, very different. I mean, it could certainly take over. That is certainly true. I mean, there's a lot to be said for these smaller titles that kind of come in out of nowhere and really disrupt things. Let's see, Hollow Knight Silksong releases on September the 4th. The marketing of this game has been brilliantly quiet and quick. They're the masters. I seriously think they got good advice from somebody. Thank you, We Must Rebel, for a 17-month renewal. Gets us to 332. We had a 20 bomb already today, and we were hoping for another one to get to 350. It's still dangling in the air. Both platforms were trying to summon the 50 bomb. Hang on, Goat Gaming, I missed your super chat. I am sorry. Real question, Reforge, with the Pro being almost 900, 750 is not almost 900, homie. Get your Twitter hyperbole out of here. With the disk drive. Oh, with the disk drive. And Stan, will it hurt sales for the people who want a GTA 6 at 60? No. Listen, the people that want GTA 6 at 60 probably already have a Pro, my man. Like, I don't know. I mean, I get where you're coming from. There could be a surge of interest in the Pro next year because of GTA 6. That could certainly, become part of the dialogue. I also don't know if people who are like, I really want GTA 6 for the Pro are going to be like, I also need a disc drive. I also need the stand. Yeah, I'm going to spend almost $1,000 to get all that. I think they'll just buy the $750 Pro and just get it digitally. I don't know. I think the industry and the consumers have largely shown less hesitancy to just go full bore towards digital, to just go full bore digital only. So that's where I sit with that. I don't think the price jump is going to be as tectonic as everybody thinks it is. I mean, I know PlayStation didn't want to because they knew it was going to hurt demand. They knew it was going to hurt demand. That's why they held off. That's why they stockpiled in America. You don't stockpile, PlayStations in a region, worried about tariffs. If you just are, oh yeah, we just want to raise the price because we're greedy. They would have just raised the price then. They wouldn't have made efforts to avoid it. This is something that I think is going to get lost in the conversation because people are, more interested in cheering for a team or tearing down another team instead of having like sensible adult conversations about it. To me, it's obvious that PlayStation was doing what they could to avoid it because they knew it was going to hurt sales. It will. They anticipated the PS5 slowing down and not keeping pace with PS4 because they were not able to do a mid-gen price reduction, which they typically do. So, RoboCop is fire, but you need this jacket. Lose the Reeboks. Oh man, that is a loud jacket. GTA 6 bundle could be 800. Yeah, I mean they obviously could do bundles. I mean that's obviously within the scope of possibility. They were selling multiple bundles at 400. That's not like the actions of a company who wants to raise prices. Yeah, Yeah, I think they understand that price of the device has a direct relationship with how well and how fast it sells. And I think they knew. I think that's why people that are worried that like PlayStation 6 is going to be like $900 and all this stuff. I just don't think so. I was originally thinking that the PlayStation 6 would be quite a bit more, but I've been compelled by others who disagreed with me to think differently about it. I've kind of changed my position on that, because I don't think that they would be able to hit the market demand and the thresholds that they want to hit with a device like that. You need mass market appeal and adoption for a game like that to do well. I'm sorry, for a system like that to do well, and that would be a pretty significant concern that they would have if the price was too high. Their behavior with the PS5, their anticipation of the PS5 not selling well as the PS4, tells me they are very sensitive to just having the price be either too high or not being able to discount it. I think they know that that has a huge effect on how many they can sell. So I don't think there's the concern that they're going to go crazy with the next one and charge like exorbitant amounts of money because, like, well, there's no more competition now and that's bad for the market. I mean, that's not their fault. I mean, it's not their fault, but I also don't think that's going to lead to the PlayStation 6 being exorbitant. I think it'll be like, I think it'll be around 600. Will Silksong be on the Switch 1? I don't know. Do we have an official platform list from them? I don't think that they put one beneath this. The view count of this video is so messed up right now. Let me just show you how messed up the view count is. It has 164,000 likes and only 3,000 views. Let me refresh it. Yeah, it's so messed up. That's when you know your video is doing really, really well. When the public view count of the video can't even keep up with the like count. Like, the like count's just screaming, and the public view count's like, yeah, it's only been viewed 3,000 times. Is Hollow Knight your favorite Metroidvania? No, it's not my favorite. I think my favorite is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I absolutely love Ori and the Will of the Wisps, followed by Prince of Persia. I think Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown is like my second favorite, followed by Hollow Knight Sundered. The first Ori, to me, is like a package deal with Ori and the Will of the Wisps. You kind of have to take them together because one builds on the other. You can't really take them separately, if that makes sense. So, how much is it going to cost? We don't have an update on price yet. I am refreshing the storefronts to see if and when that becomes available. I'm kind of surprised they announced this today and are not letting people pre-order, but Team Cherry runs a pretty classy operation, so maybe they don't want to do pre-orders. Maybe they're just like, nope, this is the game, this is the release date. So, next gen is going to help Nintendo a lot, I feel. In a few years, the Switch 2 catalog should be pretty solid, and the price point could well be at least 60% of Sony and Microsoft's next offerings. Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be a huge help to them, because I don't know if people that are typically in the market for a console are going to suddenly be like, this is too expensive, I'm going to go buy a Switch. I mean, by the time that happens, I would imagine a lot of the typical folks who buy these consoles will already have a Switch 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think there's going to be this huge amount of folks that are like, you know, I've been holding off on a Switch 2, but the new PlayStation is just too expensive. Does that make sense? I think that the typical person that's in that early adopter funnel, or like the typical people who own like PlayStations and Xboxes, by the time that all happens, I would imagine they'd be like, they already have a Switch 2. So Silksong should be $30. No, I don't agree with that at all. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is $30. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, was it $30 at launch? I don't know if that's true. Wasn't it like $40 or $50 at launch? Hang on, let's see if we can find out. That's too low. Ori and the Will of the Wisps price history. Has it always been $30? Really? Huh. Oh, you got hit. Sorry, I'm going to pause the things that people don't like. Sorry. Hollow Knight was like 20. I think Silksong should be 50 or 60. I do. I think Silksong should be 50 or 60. I'm looking at a very, very high quality product here. Yeah. That's what I think. If they want to price it that low, great. I mean, they'll sell a ton of copies either way. I don't know. If I was their publisher, if I was in the room, I'd be like, y'all should be charging $50 for this. Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown price history. Oh, so Prince of Persia was never more than 40? Man, I don't know. I'd be charging 50 for this in a dadgum heartbeat if I was in charge, because it's like, it's a high quality product. It's in high demand. There's a significant amount of work that's gone into it. You've got 40 legendary bosses, over 400 unique enemies, seemingly this large world. The replay value of the first Hollow Knight is ridiculous. Do ads help your channel? If so, why are we mad they play? They actually don't help my channel that much, no. Ads are totally fine on an upload. In a live stream, the best thing is to be fan-funded and just turn ads off. Sadly, I don't have that luxury. YouTube gets very frustrated if you turn off the automatic ads. They will outprice themselves at 50 or 60. It's a good game, but still niche AF. Niche AF. Really? You think its current standing in the market is niche? Their YouTube channel has 300,000 subscribers. This video has already almost 200,000 likes. It's been live for 27 minutes. Niche. People have been dying for this for 8 years, and they now want it for peanuts, says Eugene, and they wonder why companies are moving towards free-to-play live service crap. That's what I'm saying. I think being willing to pay $50 for this, 50 or $60 for this, I think that's exactly how the market should work. Pay for value. This looks like an enormous amount of value. Well worth more than $30 in my opinion. Fans are speculating 30 to 40. I would charge 50. $49.99 I think is completely reasonable given the replay value of the first game. You know? Eugene, aren't you the king of I'm not going to pay full price for a 2D side-scroller? Well, I don't think Eugene is saying 60 or 70. He's probably in agreement with me that it should be at least around 50. Less than 50 just seems like a big miss. It seems like a big miss. I think 50 is a nice sweet spot. It's not the old full price of 60. It's not 70. I think 50 is a great spot to land. How much was Expedition 33? Wasn't it 50? I lost a bet or a large beer if Metroid Prime 4 released before Silksong. Oh, 9 Souls is 30. I think this game demands respect. I think the developer demands respect. I think the incredibly high demand for the product justifies a price point of 50. I do. I think they've earned it. They've earned it. They have the public's attention right now, boys. They have the public's attention. Every single time there was an event, Silksong would trend. To the point that, like, Jeff Keighley made a joke before his event went live. I think they've earned it. You don't get to this level of intrigue and interest and this level of virality and then be like, no, let's just give the game away. Like, listen, it's their call. It's their judgment call, right? They may determine that you guys are right, that the sweet spot's 30, maybe 40, and anything higher than that might be too presumptuous. I think 50 is where this game should land, given its standing in the market, given the incredible demand. That's where I think this game should land. That's just my opinion. I think when we show a willingness to support games like this at a good price point of, of 40 or 50 bucks, you'll get more games like it. You will get more games like it. Is there a demo? I doubt there's a demo. I mean, it's 2 weeks away. Currently, you can't even pre-order. So I don't know if there was a demo, I'd imagine they would have announced the demo today. That would have been my bet. Using your logic, GTA 6 should be 100. No, you're misusing my logic and straw manning, because I do believe there is a ceiling for mass market appeal where if you go beyond that ceiling, you're going to charge too much and it will damage your product's demand, right? No one's arguing that there's this infinite spectrum of money to dollars where if you're going to put hundreds of hours in a game, then that game should be hundreds of dollars. You're applying logic that I never stated. This game is able to, in my opinion, land at a price point of $40 or $50 because they have earned it. They built an excellent first game with tons of replay value. The product is highly in demand. They have the entire industry's attention right now. I believe that warrants, within the current pricing structure of games, that warrants them landing above the typical $30 indie title. That's what I believe. Right now we have a spectrum, somewhere between $10 and $70 for games. I believe this game should be above the middle of the pack. The middle of the pack being $30 roughly, $30 to $35. I believe this game displays a higher degree of quality. We know the replay value of the first game, and we know this game is high and in demand, and I believe it should be higher on that spectrum than right in the middle or lower. I think 30, it's below the midway point. That's not even $35. It's not even halfway to 70. I think 50 is reasonable for a game like this. This is just my opinion. Team Cherry may completely disagree with what I'm saying, and they may say, you know, according to their own market research and according to games like this and their perceived value in the market, they may conclude that 30 is the right price. I mean, it's their game, it's their choice. $50 should be used for super premium indie games. Still keeps it under AAA titles and allows for sales that bring it to the 30-ish range. Right. I think I'd go with 40, says Zubair. Seems fair. The casual gamer doesn't know what Hollow Knight is. All they see is a cartoon side-scroller. They won't pay 50, 25 to 30 tops. I don't agree with you. I don't. Price is part of the psychological perception of value, and if somebody sees this game and they see these trailers and they see 50, they're going to be like, yo, that game is, that game must be quality. Lost Crown was 50. Why not this? Way more hype for it. Was Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown, Persia and the Lost Crown price history. Current price. How do you see what it launched at? Are you sure? What did Prince of Persia launch at? Lost Crown was 40. Yeah, I didn't think Lost Crown was 50. Prince of Persia has been typically at $39.99 according to Google. It's been as low as like $15. So, I tell you what, let me do something really quickly here. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if I made it back in time. Hopefully you guys didn't have to watch that twice. I got pulled into housework. Only twice? Okay. Zero says, I'm not going to say about that. That's perfectly fair. But the idea that these are old games or lack value chafes me. Yeah, the disparagement, I don't know who in chat has said what, so I'm not talking to anybody in chat, but it's a general consensus of some people, and we've seen this before, the sentiment that, like, these games are old or lack value or, you know, shouldn't be full price or shouldn't be that price. I don't agree with that. I think obviously value is subjective, and if that's where you land, then spend your money accordingly. But, like, these are great games. And I think they offer a lot of value. I think they offer a lot of entertainment. They offer a lot of replay value. You know? So, what you looking for, Mama? What box thing? It's in the living room. It's back out in the entertainment room. It's only ever in here if I'm playing. I'll stop putting it there so that way you can just print whenever. You're welcome. All right. We need to switch gears, though, to a Gamescom stream where we're just going to kind of, like, cover Gamescom. We can't stay in this stream all day. We've done our job. I'll add a timestamp, obviously, for people to see my reaction to this later. But there's a lot of other things to react to and a lot of other things to pull up here. There's an Xbox show that we can kind of re-watch and zip through a little bit more speedily just to the trailers and maybe some of the interviews, but not all. Let me get this set up for you guys. I'll provide a link in chat. You guys on Purple don't need to do anything, but on YouTube we'll have to switch gears. I'll provide you with a link and we'll redirect. So Team Cherry has no money issues because of what? How successful the first game did? Okay. No money issues and no money worries are two different things. Yeah, if they have no money worries, I'd be curious, like, how did they get to that point? You know, I'd be kind of curious. It sold like 14 million now. Man, what a niche game. Somebody called it niche earlier. What a niche game. Indie Metroidvania platformer sold 14 million. Rivaling like some of the biggest franchises out there. That's okay. All right. The Schreier article drop? I don't know. Okay, there's a link in chat. There's a link in chat. We're going to redirect on YouTube, all right? We're going to keep the Gamescom coverage going. Make sure when we go to this new stream, you guys go crazy with the like button, all right? Where are you seeing 14 million? I saw 3. I don't know. That's just what I saw in chat. Hollow Knight lifetime sales. We can estimate Hollow Knight has sold so far around 21 million, according to Reddit. I don't know. The Google AI total is based off of 2019 estimates. According to Jason Schreier's article, they've had 14 million sales at the $40 price point. I think 50 or 60 in today's market is just fine. There you go. All right, here we go. We're going to switch gears. Help me with the likes and the members and everything on this new stream, all right? Sometimes it's hard to start a new stream. Thank you so much for checking out this video. This is going to be some Gamescom 2025 live coverage. We're going to be grabbing the Xbox broadcast. We already reacted to Hollow Knight Silksong announcement. It's releasing on September the 4th. Be sure to check out my reaction video. That's where we're actually coming from right now. I'm going to redirect people over from there, so you can check out that video with the timestamp I'll be adding here momentarily. We're going to check out the Xbox Gamescom 2025, as well as other as well as Gamescom 2025 all trailers. So I'm going to end the previous stream and redirect folks over, and then I'm going to